to the second episode of JM Sports Productions. I'm your host, Jordan McCray, and today we're going to be talking about the New York Jets. And if you haven't heard, Aaron Rodgers did get hurt in the first game of the season against the Buffalo Bills. So before we get into the actual game, I just want to talk about the history of the New York Jets. So it has been 60 years since the Jets have won a Super Bowl. So that's a very long time. My parents haven't been alive. My grandparents were around back then, but it's just been a long time since the New York Jets have won the Super Bowl. With Joe Namath, he was the quarterback. So throughout the years, I'm going to talk about my time now. Throughout the 2000s, the Jets, they've had some playoff appearances. They made it to back-to-back AFC championships in 2009 and 10. Those were promising years with Mark Sanchez as quarterback, but since 2010, I don't think they've returned back to the playoffs, if I could remember correctly. So, it's been a rough go-around for the Jets, and I think the biggest thing is their ability to not be able to find a quarterback. It's actually, I feel like it's hard to go 30 years and not find one single quarterback that you could call your franchise guy. I mean, they've went from Ryan Fitzpatrick to Sam Darnold, an old Brett Favre, Zach Wilson, it just continues. They have no one that they could call their guy. So, we know the story. The Jets 2 years ago, they drafted Zach Wilson and they picked him number 2. And honestly, it was definitely a reach. There was definitely better quarterbacks on the board. And they just realized he's not ready for the job. I mean, the Jets won 7 games last year and they were winning with just a defense. They had no type of offense. They had to resort to Mike White to even try to help them win games. And no disrespect to Mike White, but Mike White's not taking you on a Super Bowl run, right? So whether it's Mike White or Zach Wilson, those guys weren't going to get the job done. So the Jets went out there and they got Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers. And the Green Bay Packers have had one of the greatest quarterbacks ever playing on their team for 15 years, and they only got one Super Bowl to represent that. And I mean, that is still a Super Bowl. So I mean, I really can't say, oh, it wasn't worth it, but I feel like they should have achieved more with such a great quarterback. But now the Jets got this guy. So the hype in New York City has been an all-time high. If you look at the jersey sale numbers, Aaron Rodgers is the number 1 selling jersey in New York right now when it comes to football. And honestly, I get it. You go from having Mike White as your quarterback to one of the greatest quarterbacks of our generation, and your only problem last year was the quarterback position. So if we look at the defensive side of the ball, we got dogs like Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. You guys are ready to rock and roll. Top 5 defense in the NFL. Great star receivers on offense like Garrett Wilson. You bring in Allen Lazard. You're ready to rock and roll. The Jets go from a borderline team with no quarterback to a team with a stout defense and maybe a top 5 quarterback in the league. And I only say top 5 because he's getting up there in age and he might be 40 years old now. But regardless of that, you're getting a top 3 perennial MVP candidate in Aaron Rodgers. So I understand why the hype was so high for Aaron Rodgers to be on the Jets. And everyone's watching, what happened in the city of New York this past offseason due to Aaron Rodgers and him bringing his guys like Randall Cobb and Allen Lazard, and the culture switch is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in terms of a star player going to a town that's known for losing and just changing the expectation, changing the culture, giving the fans something to root for. And then for it to all just come crashing down on Monday night like it did, it honestly sucks. And this is me speaking as a Giants fan. It sucks to watch. I don't hate the Jets. Some people think the Jets and the Giants have this crosstown rivalry. Maybe the Jets hate the Giants because they see Jets fans hate the Giants because they see the Giants fans are spoiled. I know we're going through a rough time now, but throughout the course of years, the Giants have won Super Bowls like in 2007, 2011, and Jets fans these recent years haven't been able to see anything. So I could see why a Jets fan would hate a Giants fan, but I don't hate the Jets, so I actually root for them to do good. I even watched Hard Knocks this year, and Hard Knocks, I've never watched it before, so this is my first time watching it. I thought it was a well put together show. It really got me invested in what was to come for these New York Jets. I mean, I had to tune in. I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers and a new team, Rob Salah, this is like his last shot as the Jets coach. They've kind of underperformed in his first year. His second year, I mean, they did pretty good, almost made the playoffs, but he never really had a QB. So you give Rob Salah a QB now and one of the best QBs in our generation. I want to see them work. So Hard Knocks, it was a good show. I mean, I didn't like how certain things were in the show. I feel like some of it is a little bit forced, but in terms of getting to know someone like Aaron Rodgers, I feel like it was just the perfect situation because Aaron Rodgers faced a lot of criticism during his last few years with Green Bay. People were saying that, oh, he's not a likable guy in the locker room. He doesn't want to be there, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like this showed Aaron Rodgers' like human side. And I don't know if he was doing it for the cameras, but he seemed like a likable guy. He had a great relationship with almost everyone on the team. He's going out to eat with Mekhi Becton, and we know Mekhi Becton's story. He's a guy that was a high draft pick, had a good rookie season, but hasn't been able to live up to what his rookie season has been. And his confidence is definitely shot. And Aaron Rodgers is going out to eat with him. He's got a great relationship with Garrett Wilson. He's got a great relationship with Sauce Gardner and the rest of the boys. So during Hard Knocks, the hype is at an all-time high. It's peaking. We're watching Aaron Rodgers go off in training camp making these great throws. Rob Salah can't even believe it. He said multiple times, I can't believe we got this guy as our quarterback. So obviously, you add a top 5 quarterback to a top 5 team with the top 5 defense, you have to be thinking higher. It's not just, are we going to make the playoffs? It's, what are we going to do when we get to the playoffs? Are we going to make it to the AFC Championship? Are we going to go to the Super Bowl? And if you ask around in New York, the Jets definitely had Super Bowl aspirations. And if you watch Hard Knocks, that's all they talked about, making it to the next step, making it all the way to the big game. They wanted to win. And honestly, I'm not going to say that they were going to go to the Super Bowl because the AFC is loaded. I mean, you got Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. You obviously got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. You got Joe Burrow and the Bengals. The Steelers are always in the playoffs. There's just loads of talent in the AFC. But still, the Jets, you can't write them off. That division is hard. You got Tua and the Dolphins. You got Bill Belichick and his Patriots still. And you have Josh Allen and the Bills. But the Jets were supposed to change it this year. They got the top 5 quarterback with that stout defense. They were supposed to change the narrative this year. And then on Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles tendon. And I was editing one of my episodes when I found out this news, and I checked Twitter, and I instantly ran upstairs and turned on the TV, and I just couldn't believe it. All this hype for this quarterback to change this franchise, give them something to root for, down the drain. Absolutely down the drain. I can't even think of the right words. I feel bad for Jets fans. And the Giants got destroyed 40-0 on national television on Sunday night. And somehow I feel like the Jets one-upped us and got it worse. Jets fans got it worse than us. And they did win that game. They did beat the Buffalo Bills because Josh Allen wanted to throw 3 interceptions. That game was completely on Josh Allen, by the way. He lost that game for the Bills. Absolutely lost it. What are you doing throwing down the field? Receivers aren't even in the area, and he's throwing to Jets players. Maybe he had a parlay on the game. I'm not sure, but that was unacceptable on Josh Allen's part. But the fact that the Jets were able to pull off this win with Zach Wilson at quarterback is very impressive. But at the end of the day, their expectations to be contenders and go to the Super Bowl are now down the drain. And that's why I say that the Jets won the battle, because they did win week 1, but they will lose the war in terms of what their expectations were coming into the season. Coming into the season is, we're going to end this playoff drought. We're going to get far. We're going to at least get to the AFC Championship. Our guy Aaron Rodgers is going to take us to the promised land, and all of Jets Nation will be happy. Unfortunately, that is not going to happen anymore. The way you look at the AFC, I named all those quarterbacks, and there's more. Whoever is going to be the quarterback for the rest of the year for the Jets is not going to do what Aaron Rodgers was capable of doing. Zach Wilson, he's just not ready for it. He can't make all the throws. He's getting sacked too much, and he also gets hurt. He doesn't have the confidence, I feel like, to live up to an Aaron Rodgers type of play style. And now we know that the Jets are on the market looking for another quarterback, and it's just that whoever they get, if they sign a quarterback, which I'm 95% sure they are going to sign a quarterback, whether that's to start over Wilson or be his backup, they're not going to be Aaron Rodgers. They could go get a Carson Wentz. They could go get a Jameis Winston or Jacoby Brissett. But are those guys really taking you to where you need to be? Being able to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, being able to beat Joe Burrow in the playoffs? No. So I feel like this season is just going to be a complete disappointment for all Jets fans. And I seen the faces of those Jets fans in the stadium. They looked depressed, but it's almost the face as if like they're not surprised, because being a Jets fan or being a New York sports fan in general these last few years, what can go wrong will go wrong. And I love that saying because like whenever you feel like it really is a thing. You know, it's just the Jets. All year, Jets fans are saying this is too good to be true. We really got our guy. How is this going to go wrong? And literally 4 snaps into your season, your quarterback goes down with an Achilles tear. And I just got to feel for Jets fans, man. It's sick. It's really sick. So Hard Knocks had me excited for this Jets team just to watch to see how the season would go. I'm a fan of Aaron Rodgers and his ability. I think he's maybe the second greatest quarterback of my generation, obviously after Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the GOAT, 6 rings. And can we please put to bed, is Tom Brady going to come out of retirement and come play for the Jets? I mean, I would love to see that. That would be pretty cool, but he's not coming out of retirement after retiring, coming out to prove a point. Then he retired again, and now he owns part of the Las Vegas Raiders. He's not going to come out of retirement to play for the Jets, even though it would be a crazy story. That's not going to happen, so we could rule that out of the equation. I don't know what to say. If I was a Jets fan, I would be livid. And like I was making the comparison earlier, I'd rather have my team lose 40-0 in week 1 and feel absolutely terrible than losing my quarterback that I have hopes of taking me to the Super Bowl in week 1. The NFL is a long season. I'm banking on the Giants are going to bounce back and beat the Cardinals this coming Sunday. But for the Jets, it's like, what do you tell a Jets fan that just lost Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback? There's nothing you could tell them. I wouldn't want to hear anything. I would be so upset. It's just like our shot to win the Super Bowl is down the drain. Whoever they have that's coming back, who's going to step up into that role, is not going to do what Aaron Rodgers was possibly going to do. And now let's talk about, maybe, is Aaron Rodgers going to retire? He is 40 years old. He just tore his Achilles. Personally, I don't think Rodgers will retire. I feel like that would be such a sour note to end your career on. You play 15 years for the Green Bay Packers. You bring them a Super Bowl. Now you're trying to transition. You go to a different team, and you're excited. You got all these playmakers on offense. The offensive line isn't that good, but, they're going to still build that. They're definitely going to focus on that in the offseason. So there's so much. There's so many possibilities of what he could do and accomplish with the New York Jets. I just find it hard to believe that his only experience on the Jets is going to be 4 plays, four snaps, and then that's it. He's going to call it a career. And Rob Saleh did say that Aaron Rodgers is going to stick around the team despite going through surgery and all that. So it's not like he's going to just disappear. He's still going to be around in that locker room, and you're probably going to see him on the sidelines coaching up Zach Wilson. So that's good. So I don't think there's any way that Rodgers is going to retire. I think he's going to go through the rehab process, and then hopefully next year, I'm not sure how long an Achilles tendon repair takes. It's probably like 9 months to a year. So hopefully by the start of next season, Rodgers will be ready to go. But I would actually be very disappointed if Aaron Rodgers was to retire on such a sour note like that. You've seen how he ran out there on Monday night with the American flag for 9/11, and just the Jets stadium was rocking. I've never seen a Jets game like that. The fans were ready, and I know Aaron Rodgers was ready to go ball out. So there's no way a competitor like him is going to just go out there and just retire. It's an unfortunate circumstance, but I know the Jets team doctor said that he expects Rodgers to make a full recovery and thinks that he could still be a mobile quarterback after this. So I think that's what we're all banking on, because at the end of the day, I do want to see what the Jets can do in this situation. It's a unique situation. We see a lot of teams try to draft the quarterback and then load the roster with players around the rookie quarterback while the rookie quarterback is on the rookie salary and try to compete for a Super Bowl that way. So I like to see other teams do like what the Rams did, get the veteran quarterback, trade away their draft picks, and get these players, sign these star players to their team to try to go compete for it now. Because I like seeing different things. I think drafting a rookie quarterback and surrounding him with players is the smarter move, but also going out there and getting your guy and trying to compete for a championship is also cool to see too. So I just want to see how the Aaron Rodgers experiment lasts, and for it to only last 4 snaps, I think would be pretty dumb. I don't think it's worth everything they traded and the money aspect of it. I don't think it's worth it. So I think you got to have Rodgers come out there another year, and I know he wants to. There's no way he wants to retire. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the New York Jets, that's all I have to say. It's a sucky situation. I don't think they're going to make it that far. They might sneak into the playoffs because their defense is just that good. But in terms of their Super Bowl aspirations, I think those are pretty much about finished. Your defense can only carry you so far until you got to face Mahomes and it's a shootout and he's putting up 35 points against your great defense, or Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? But let's look forward. This transition to the Giants. So the Giants played the Cardinals at 4:05. This is an absolute must-win. Like I said in my last episode, you have to win this game. Andrew Thomas did not practice today. The day I'm recording this is Wednesday, so I don't know when it's going to be uploaded, but Thomas did not practice, but they're saying he's progressing. I would hope we would see him. It would be a big loss if he can't play Sunday, and I want everyone on the field, because you lose this game, I'm ready to pack up the season, because you're 0-2 and you're playing the 49ers on Thursday Night Football, and that's not going to be a win. I mean, as much as I hope it would be, and I would love to see, we're not beating the 49ers on the West Coast in their home on Thursday night on short rest. It's just not happening. So you want to go salvage the first 2 games and beat the Cardinals, and I want it to be a convincing win. I'll take a win any way I could get it, but I want to change the narrative of the Giants got destroyed week 1. They're a terrible team. I want to go out there and show everyone, hey, this is the real Giants. This is our identity, and I want to win the game. But the problem that concerns me is that the Arizona pass rush isn't bad. They had some sacks against the Commanders, and their head coach is a defensive-minded head coach. John Gannon from, or I don't know if it's John or Josh Gannon, from the Philadelphia Eagles. He was their defensive coordinator, and that's what gets me concerned, because if you look at the Giants versus Eagles last year in the divisional round, their scheme to beat the Giants was so good. All they did was attack the quarterback, and they focused on the pass rush. They did not respect our passing game at all, because they knew our offensive linemen cannot block. So what did they do? They didn't respect the passing game, and they rushed the backfield. They got to Jones. They gave him no time to throw. And when you give Daniel Jones no time to throw, he's prone to make mistakes. We've seen that last week, and we've seen that against the Eagles, and we've seen it through the course of his career. He used to fumble. He cleaned up the fumbles. But if you put a quarterback under enough pressure, they're going to make mistakes. And Jones makes mistakes when he's under pressure. So him being the head coach of the Cardinals, I feel like he's going to be able to scheme up ways with his pass rush with the Cardinals to make Jones uncomfortable. But I also still have this theory that they are low-key, the Arizona Cardinals are low-key tanking. I don't think they're really invested. I don't think this new coaching staff of the Arizona Cardinals is invested in or interested in Kyler Murray. So, yeah, their pass rush might get to the Giants, but at the end of the day, I don't know if they really want to win that game. And honestly, tanking is really a thing in sports, so don't criticize me for assuming teams tank, 'cause teams do tank. It's the Giants got to figure out their offensive line. They need to figure out Evan Neal. This season relies on Evan Neal. He's got to make a huge leap at the right tackle position. And against the Cowboys, I didn't see any type of leap. Brian Dable needs to come out ready to put these guys in a position to win, because whatever the game plan was last week, it did not work. We didn't have a good script for the Cowboys pass rush. Obviously, you can't do anything when their pass rush is that good and Daniel Jones has no time to throw, but we made no type of adjustments in that game. And I see all over Twitter, people are like, the Giants need to get back to their identity, which is running the ball. And then someone listed on Twitter that the Giants ran the ball 9 times against the Vikings in their playoff game, 12 times against the Eagles, and like 11 times against the Cowboys on Sunday night. And the Giants' identity is not running the ball. Not with Brian Daboll as the coach of the New York Giants. Brian Daboll is a pass-first coach, and people are saying, well, maybe the Giants shouldn't be a pass-first team if they can't pass the ball, which I agree, but Sunday night was the first game of the season. We go out there, we get Paris Campbell, we draft Jalen Hyatt, we go trade for Darren Waller. We're trying to give receivers because we want to be a pass-first offense. So you can't expect them to go out there and start running the ball 40 times with Saquon Barkley. That's not what Brian Daboll or Joe Schoen wants. They don't want the team to be like that. They want to be able to pass, get down the field, and score a lot of points. And when you run the ball a game, you're not going to be scoring a lot of points. So I don't understand how people would expect the Giants to just run the ball 30 times a game. And yeah, sure, we could run the ball 30 times a game with Saquon, and it'll be effective for 3 weeks. But when you get to that mid-stretch of the season, Saquon always declines, and it's because his workload is so heavy. I think you'll get the most out of Saquon if you use him more in the passing game. And I know it's hard to use him in the passing game when we have no time to throw, but we really need to see what our offensive line could do against the Cardinals. Hopefully the Giants get more time to throw, and I'm telling you, if you give Jones time to throw and you let the receivers run their routes, we will be an explosive offense. We have actual talent on this Giants offense now. It's not just Golden Tate and David Sills anymore. We have Darren Waller, Jalen Hyatt, who runs 23 miles per hour, and the rest of the boys. Paris Campbell, he's a reliable pass catcher. We got Sterling Shepard back. So if we give Jones time to throw, our identity won't be running the ball. It'll be throwing the ball and going to score touchdowns. Daniel Bellinger is going to be open. So I don't want the Giants to just run the ball. I want to be like the rest of the offenses in the NFL. I want to be able to score points at our will, and that comes with throwing the ball. But it all starts at the offensive line. So hopefully the Giants could be able to do this against the Cardinals. This is a must-win. If you don't win this game, the season is not looking good because the schedule is only getting harder. But anyways, thank you for listening. This was episode 2 of the JM Sports Podcast. I'm Jordan McCray. Everyone have a nice night. Thank you.